What's the team news following the international break?
Yeah, they've come back. Obviously, Mo and Sav were the two outfield players, and Paddy, who have played the 2 games. So we'll assess them. They worked with the medical people yesterday. They didn't join in with us. So we'll see what they're like coming back. Injury-wise, we're a little bit concerned about Lewis Wing. We're not sure he's going to be 100% fit for Saturday. Lewis has been carrying a groin injury for the last few weeks. And it's still hanging around. So again, we've got to be a little bit careful with that one. So again, that decision won't be made until after training today.
Has it been a help to have a 2-week period where, by and large, most of the squad haven't played?
Yeah, it's been good in some ways. It would have been lovely if they were all together and you could have had them together. But that's never going to be the case now. So, yeah.
Going into it, obviously everybody was disappointed with the run leading to it, but you come out of it with a blockbuster fixture. It's going to have everybody talking about it. It's the game of the weekend in the Championship. Is it a good time to have it for you and your team?
Listen, every game in the Championship is a competitive game. It's a tough game. The league is what it is, and I think anybody can beat anybody. To get the leaders at home is going to be, a real challenge for us. They've done fantastic. Their recruitment of players from outside this country coming in, has been outstanding without a question of a doubt. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. I hope the players are as well.
Essentially, it comes down to just a 9-game season. Is that what you tell the players?
Well, they've worked hard all over the season. We've had, the previous 3 games, and if you look at the 3 games, we haven't had the Villa game. You take the Villa game out of it. Villa were better than us. We didn't perform. And having said that, there haven't been many times away from home where we haven't performed. I think there was a reaction, obviously, to the Brentford game and certainly the Preston game, where I don't think we've had the run of the ball in respect of decisions. Well, we definitely haven't had the run of the ball with the decisions. And they're big decisions that change games. And in both games, the penalty, we get a penalty last minute against Brentford that he books Johnny Howson, and when you look back, it's a penalty. John, he's booked him and it should have been a penalty. And the one that Ayala gets sent off for, which changes the game, has been rescinded. That's 3 out of 4 sendings off we've had this year that have been rescinded. So we haven't had that little bit of luck that you need along the way. Hopefully we'll get the next 9 games.
Do you believe that it evens itself out over the course of the season?
No, not at all. I think the thing, if you're waiting for other people to even it out for you, it never happens. You've got to make it happen yourself.
Rightfully so. Everyone talks about Norwich and how prolific they are, top scorers in the division, but you've got the best defence in this division. Are you a big believer that when it comes to the business end of the season, the defence can prevail?
No, what I'm a big believer in is making sure everybody's focused and stays focused. That's the most important thing. I think you've got to be, you ebb and flow through a season, especially in a league like this. There's going to be times where things are not going to go for you or things aren't running smoothly. The most important thing is that you keep everybody focused, whether you're on a high or a low, on that next game. And obviously, we've got a big week, and it starts with Norwich.
How much have they changed since that meeting back in September?
I think the biggest difference is that they've gone on a run. They've kept the majority of their players fit, important players fit, and they've gone on a run of results that have been absolutely fantastic. And confidence is huge. But they've got some good players, and like I say, players that I didn't know about that have come into the division and really taken it by storm.
During the international break, players at clubs, away from clubs, tend to talk and get a bit more limelight. It won't escape your attention that Martin Braithwaite gave an interview during the last couple of weeks. He described your style of football as kick and rush. Is it something that you think is a fair assessment?
Well, as a manager, I think you've got to accept you're going to get criticism from players, whether it's myself or Gary Monk. This football club spent an absolute fortune getting Braithwaite to this football club. And on 2 occasions, when I was here by myself, not Gary, but myself, he actually went to the press and said one thing he doesn't want to do is leave this football club. He wants to be with the football club and help the club get promoted. Steve Gibson, and if he wants to give me criticism or wants to give managers criticism, you have to accept that as a manager. Steve Gibson, the chairman of this football club, has given him an absolute fortune. I would say, well, he is. He's the highest earning championship player I've ever worked with. When I was at West Bromwich Albion in the Premiership, I don't think there was many players earning as much as what Braithwaite was earning. And the disrespect is shown the area and the football club is astonishing for someone that has taken so much out of this football club and given so much or so less back. For him to talk the way he's talked, you know, it's really, really disappointing. But, you know, I've been in football a long time. You come across these players now and then, and, you know, you have to deal with it. But specifically, for a person who has on 2 occasions come out and said, you know, he's got his heart and soul in this football club, and within 36 hours is then going in and seeing the chief executive and asking him, can he leave? I think it just shows what Martin's all about. It's
clearly something that upsets you and probably upsets a lot of other people.
Well, it's not. It doesn't. I've been in the game too long. It don't upset me in respect of, you know, people throwing stones. You know, the old sticks and stones break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That my great thing is the football. I think Steve Gibson. Honestly, the contract that Steve has given him, the money that Steve has put, you know, he's made the lad a multi-millionaire, and for the lad not to show any respect towards Steve, who's an owner of a football club who was desperate to back his manager at the time. Obviously, Gary brought him in, and Steve just gave him almost everything that the kid wanted, and it just shows total lack of respect. Not to me, I'm a manager of a football club, but the owner, his money, the supporters who pay money to come and watch these players. You know, sometimes they got to think before they say things, and now it's regrettable, I think, that he's even mentioned it. I'd be keeping my head down and just getting on with life in Spain, where he is.
Away from that, obviously during the international break, the biggest story was Raheem Sterling and the voices chanting over in Montenegro. You've seen a lot during your years in this game. Is it, for a lot of time, people have worked towards making it better and trying to eradicate it from our game in this country. Is it getting better, or is it something that's bubbling again on the surface?
I'm saying this now, and I've worked with a lot of players from foreign countries. This is the greatest multinational or multiracial country in the world, in my opinion. You'll always have a small minority of idiots, and we've got to be wary, and we've got to make sure we're on top of that, and we make sure we dampen it down before it gets to a level. And I think we do that. I think we do that brilliantly in this country, but we have to be aware of it. If you go to other countries, I don't think the standard is as good as this country. I don't think that they work as hard as what we do in this country. You know, I've worked with French lads, especially, who have come over from France and come to England, and just they think this country is so far ahead of what they get in other countries. You know, it's comforting, but we have to always be mindful that there are idiots, and they're there. They're under the surface, just waiting to poke their heads up. And as long as we are mindful of that, I think sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for what we do within this game, outside this game. And yeah, I think we're as good. I think we're the best, but we're as good as anybody at dealing with it and controlling it.
Thank you very much.
Tony, after the Aston Villa game, you mentioned that there might have been a bit of a hangover from the Preston game. Do you feel like in the last couple of weeks the kind of cobwebs have blown away?
Yeah.
Recovered,
yeah.
There's a better attitude?
I think the Preston game killed the group in lots of respects. I think to have played so well and to be so dominant and you know, I think even the Preston contingent after the game had not apologised, but were wary about what they'd got away with. For the lads to have to stomach that and stomach decisions that were just, you know, outright shocking decisions that cost you a game, it's disappointing. And the Villa game, I think the Villa game was a bad game for us to play on that Saturday, to be honest. And there certainly was a reaction. I'm hoping it was a reaction from the game against and the reaction of the game against Preston. So we've got to dust ourselves down, which they've had time to do. We've got to make sure we're ready for Saturday.
With it being so tight, and like you said before, any team can beat anyone, and the real dogfight for those playoff places, it could go either way. How do the players deal with that? Because promotion is huge. It's huge for the club. It's huge for this area. How do they deal with that kind of mental pressure on you yourself?
I personally enjoy it. I think the fact that we're in the top 6 and we're there, you know, and every game now is hopefully a cup final and played like a cup final. That's the challenge. That's what you're in football for. That's what you're in this job for. You know, you don't want to be mid-table. You don't want to be mediocre. You want to be pushing and pushing and pushing and getting the best out of what you've got. We've got the games to come. We've got to win those games. What a challenge! It's great, fabulous.
And just a word about Randolph being named in the championship team of the season. He's been outstanding. You know, how impressed have you been with him? Well,
the back players will say that it's been them who's made him look outstanding. He's taken all the glory. Darren has been fantastic for us, and he's a great lad round the place. Yeah, I'm pleased for him. Really, really pleased for him.
Thank you.
No problems.
Tony, is there any update on your contract situation?
No, I speak to Steve. I spoke to Steve, twice, 3 times this week. He knows the situation. I just want to get through this season, then I'll sit down with him and we'll talk then.
Would you like to stay?
I'll talk to Steve before I'll talk to you. Put it bluntly. I can't be more honest, can I?
Cheers, Tony.